So, what did you work on at Apple? Can you? Is that a question I can ask?
It's definitely a question you could ask, and like they are very clear when you leave about like the large stack of things you signed that says you're not going to talk about this. Here's what I can say: I did product design in their special projects group, and there was like a leak. So it's kind of a funny story. I don't know that I've ever told this publicly, but they first of all, they approached me and wanted me to work for them. And then they told me when I came there, I can't make YouTube videos. And I'm like, and granted, at that time, I had like 250,000 subs. So I was pretty small. But I'm like, forget you guys. Like, you came to me. Like, I didn't, like, then I'm not going to work with you. And I don't feel like you can even tell me I can't make videos anyways. Like, is that even legal? So eventually they backed off of that and they just said, fine, but wait at least 3 months till you make a video so you kind of get the culture here, and you can't say in your videos you work for Apple. I'm like, fine. I'm like, I don't even have, like, part of me convincing them was like, I don't even have that big of a channel anyways. It's not going to get that many views. So I come there and the very first video I upload after 3 months is how to skin a watermelon, which to this day is my most popular video ever with like 140 million views. It just had a
Wow.
really banger thumbnail at a time when thumbnails were like really important to the algorithm. It was just like weird
Mhm.
timing. So I'm like, guys, don't worry. Like, I don't need that many views anyways. I upload this and in like a week it has like 25 million views. It just like totally popped. Um,
Yeah.
so anyways, so I'm making videos, and then eventually, maybe a year later, Jimmy Kimmel asked me, you know, his folks are like, hey, do you want to come on the Kimmel show? And I was like, well, so I asked Apple that, and it gets bumped all the way up to Dan Riccio, who is like one below Tim Cook. And Dan
Jeez.
Riccio's response was like, we should be focused on making great products. And so that comes
That's
down. So
so
he didn't exactly
cold
say
apple. Yeah.
no, but it was like, and then I honestly realized from that, like, oh, they can't actually tell me no. If I'm not saying I work for Apple, like, if I want to canoe after hours, you know, they can't tell me like I can't canoe because we should be focused on making great products. So I did Kimmel anyways, and that turned out to be, you know, a really good career decision because him and I are like good friends now. I'm staying at his house I'm hosting his show next week and staying at his house and
Wow.
going on vacation with him, you know, the month after that. Um, so it's like, I'm glad I didn't listen to Dan Riccio there. That's for dang sure. So I
Yeah.
kind of kept
Same.
it secret, you know, that I worked for Apple, and then my channel got bigger and bigger. And their concern, like, to their point is like, there's nothing beneficial that there's no upside to them by having me be an Apple employee and having a large following. It's only downside because if I now have a platform to talk about them, like they don't need me to get their story out, right? So eventually I get a call one day after working for Apple for 4 years, and it's a reporter from Variety, I think, or something. And it's like, can you comment on your work you do for Apple? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And as I'm talking to him, I get a call from Apple HR, like pinging in on this. And so I go over and they're like, hey, look, someone's going to leak this story that you work for us. Just be, you know, don't say anything, you know, just keep it very surface level. So anyways, I did. It
Yeah.
ended up being this big story that leaked, and all my coworkers like gave me a hard time about it, were teasing me. But after that, it was like not a big deal. And I still worked for them for
Right.
like another year, and they loved me working for them, and I loved working for them. The reason it leaked, though, getting to everything, and this is the answer to your question, what did I do at Apple? I was lead author on a patent, and I can say this because it's like public domain, about using virtual reality in self-driving cars, and like what are all the implications of that, you know? And the main one being, again, because this is listed in the patent, like 40% of people suffer from motion sickness. And wouldn't it be interesting if you could use virtual reality to solve that? Because motion sickness is when like basically your internal gyro doesn't match up with what your eye is seeing. So that's why if you're like in the back seat and you can't see forward, you get motion sick because
Yeah.
you don't know what's happening. And so if you could really know exactly what the car is going to do and where it's going to turn and how it's turning, and show that to you in virtual reality, then you could potentially not get motion sickness. Because, well, when autonomous cars eventually come, we'll have all this free time, but if you get motion sick, there's nothing you can do with it. So the idea that you could strap on a virtual reality, and by the way, imagine virtual reality is like sunglasses, not these big bulky things now, but it's like a very lightweight thing you put on your head in the future. And now you can work on your laptop because essentially the screen is like way over on the horizon. You know, it would show you a fake horizon and the screen would be like in the sky basically. And so if, you know, no one gets motion sickness looking way over at the horizon. So now all of a sudden you can look down and see a virtual keyboard and you're typing, or you can watch a movie. But then there's also tons of other implications that are listed in the patent of like, what does that mean for entertainment? Because like a car in some ways is the best version of a motion simulator because, you know, if you go on Star Tours or Motion Simulator, they have to simulate gravity by tilting your seat back. And then your brain's like, I'm not feeling like pressure on my butt as much. So something just feels off when you're supposedly quote unquote accelerating. But in a car, you still keep your G's pointing down and you actually can accelerate and brake and turn and impart these G's to you in a way that could be pretty entertaining or relaxing or engaging, depending on what kind of version you feed into the or thrilling into the VR. So, yeah, there's a lot there. And I will say, again, because this is public record, Apple has continued to make updates to that patent. And it feels like, from my perspective, it's an interesting one for them. So, I don't know. It was really exciting to be. And that came about because Apple's like, one of my managers at Apple was like, hey, dude, you're coming up with all these banger ideas on YouTube. Like, come up with a banger idea for us. And so I started like thinking about it. And then like I was in a meeting and I was just like, I started shaking because I'm like, oh my gosh, this would be so crazy. And so then like I started coming up with all these versions of it. And to their credit, management is very supportive there. When you have ideas, they let you run with stuff and they have the funds to invest in it. So they were very supportive of letting me just go crazy with this idea. And it's a really fun, cool experience to be able to do that. Because it's like, you know, there's one thing of like, you know, we come up with ideas on our own, which is cool. You own the full idea and you could technically own it and run it cradle to grave. But it's like working at the largest tech company in the world, you know, the most valuable company in the world with like so many resources. If you come up with an idea there, it's like, you're going to really affect the world in, you know, what would be, you know, hopefully a very positive way. So that was kind of an exciting thing about working with Apple. It's just like, if you do have an idea, like the leverage that could come from that idea is so much more than if you just had it on your own.
Yeah. That sounds like the most fascinating like conundrum of like being in a meeting like, oh, I have an idea, but is this better for Apple or for a video later? Which do I do?
I didn't give him the glitter bomb. I kept the glitter bomb to myself.
Good call.
I didn't give him all
Good call. That would be bad. I cannot imagine. I ask for Apple all the time to get into various things. Like, yeah, you guys should make a camera. That would be sick. You guys should make a printer. Printers suck right now. I don't know. Glitter bomb. Yeah, that's a YouTube video for sure. I don't like the idea of that being real. No, that's also like a lot of people ask me when I was in school, did your classmates find out about your videos? And like, I didn't tell anybody about the videos. It was just something I was doing at home. It was a different part of my brain. But I feel like the channel as a creative outlet, like, is important to your brain. You know what I mean? It's like you have work mode and you're on for work, and then you're done with work and you get that creative version of your brain that has all these other crazy ideas and come out. So it's a little bit of yin yang.
100%. Totally agree.
Hey, thanks for watching this Waveform clip with Mark Rober. I just want you to know that if you don't like this clip and aren't already subscribed, then the next package that arrives at your house may or may not be a glitter bomb from me. Just saying.
Yikes.
That's it.